Why do some states keep their college graduates while others watch them leave? The Strada Education Foundation's Dr. Peter Bahr joins us to unpack new data.
Plus, how does a comedian go from impersonating presidents and movie stars to building a career that's entirely his own? SNL alum Jay Pharoah joins us.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And you can even watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
All that and more right here on Hello Houston after the news from NPR and News 88.7.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh says inflation's too high, still above the central bank's 2% target. But in a highly anticipated speech in Jackson Hole, Wyoming today, Warsh did not give a clear indication of what the Fed's next steps might be. Here's NPR's Scott Horsley.
He reiterated his concern that too much telegraphing about interest rates by the Fed can tie the central bank's hands and also distort market signals. That's why he's really allergic to saying a whole lot about what the central bank might do in the future. Some players have said, look, don't tell us where interest rates are going next month or the next 6 months, but give us a general idea of how you might react to this or that economic indicator.
That's NPR's Scott Horsley reporting. President Trump has signed an executive order renaming Lake Ontario to Lake America. NPR's Liz Baker reports that in Rochester, New York, beachgoers greeted the news with derision and defiance.
It's a windy day, so only a few people are out on the sandy beach of Lake America?
That's not what it's called. It's called Lake Ontario.
From the boardwalk, D-Love and Sky House look north to the Canadian side of the lake and the Canadian side of the trade war.
I think Trump is just pissed off with him and trying to be funny.
Political science major Abby Opal says she wanted to laugh at first, but
it symbolizes how our relationship with Canada is going down the drain and for no reason.
It won't really make a difference, says Michael Alakwa, just like Trump's renaming of another body of water.
People are always going to call it the Gulf of Mexico. People are always going to call it Lake Ontario.
After all, the order only applies to the federal government. Liz Baker, NPR News, Lake Ontario Beach, New York.
Nepal and Tibet are now trying to account for as many as 2,500 people. Many residents and foreign tourists have not been seen since a torrent of water and mud tore through villages this week. Some areas remain inaccessible to emergency assistance. In others, the waters receded and more bodies are being found. The death toll has risen to 538. NPR's Dia Hadid reports the State Department says 90 Americans are affected.
Many of the missing Americans appear to be Hindu pilgrims, like 28-year-old Ariadna Riley's in-laws. Riley says Neelam Kumari Sharma and Ramesh Sharma were on a pilgrimage to circle Mount Kailash, a mountain revered by Hindus.
They were really excited to be able to participate in, for them, an incredible event.
But they lost contact when the floods took place.
We have been tirelessly looking for them. That's just been the most torturous part that anyone can imagine, is not knowing where your family is and having to wait to hear if they're dead or not. It's one of the devastating things that this family is going through right now.
So far, the State Department says it's deployed $500,000 to rescue efforts. Dia Hadid, NPR News.
It's NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. Fort Bend County's Republican commissioners voted Thursday to create a new civil legal department under their control. A move that shifts attorneys, funding, and other resources away from the elected county attorney's office. The vote was approved by the two Republican commissioners and interim county judge Daniel Wong. The two Democratic commissioners remained absent, extending their ongoing boycott of meetings presided over by Wong. University of Houston political science professor Brandon Rottinghouse says the move is a counterproductive way to govern.
I think that sets it in a path that means less accountability from voters. I mean, the county attorney is elected by voters, so to strip those responsibilities from that office would need to be connected to some degree of voter approval.
The vote came the same day a Fort Bend County District Court judge denied County Attorney Bridget Smith Lawson's emergency request to temporarily stop commissioners from considering the proposal. Competition to land an NHL team is reportedly down to Houston and Austin. Houston Chronicle reporter Michael Shapiro told Houston Matters he believes Houston has an edge and has been looking for a spot to build an arena.
I have from a source that we know this team would play within Harris County. Will that be within the 610 loop? I'm not necessarily sure, but we have assurances that it will not be Montgomery County, Fort Bend County, or another spot.
An announcement on the expansion team reportedly won't take place until the end of the year, with a targeted start date of 2029. Taking a look at your weather. We've got a 20% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, it's going to be partly sunny with a high near 95 degrees, 101 the heat index. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 88 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from DuckDuckGo, a private search engine and browser. DuckDuckGo believes AI should be optional and private. Now with Duck.ai, users can chat privately with AI. Learn more at Duck.ai. This is NPR.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now your hosts for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
Yes, Tessa's pointing to herself, saying, I'm one of those too.
I'm her. I'm Tessa. You're Ernie.
I'm Ernie. I'm pointing to me too. And you know what? You could watch us point. You know where? Over on YouTube. You can watch the show stream live there every single day and get to join in the wonderful conversations that happen from our YouTubers right in the chat to the show. But you know where we want to start today?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. But also, I want to sing the song of a fallen angel, Bonnie Tyler.
We specifically asked you to focus on the eclipse.
How can you focus on an eclipse without bringing her up?
Okay, I guess
anyway,
you
can't. It wasn't a total eclipse, though. It was a partial eclipse. You are all gaga about the eclipse.
I am, because I did feel a surge of energy last night from the eclipse. Now, maybe it was because I did take a nap in the afternoon in the heat of the day. And then I woke up and I go, oh my gosh, there's an eclipse tonight. And I just got a surge of energy. I started cooking.
Did you go outside and watch it?
I did. I could see it from my balcony. So Travis and I sat down and we had a glass of wine and we tried to use the manifestation moon powers that were upon us in the night. And yeah, I feel renewed. I feel like the eclipse and the nap really invigorated me. And here I am.
I took an unintentional nap yesterday.
Okay.
I lay down with my cats. I was on my phone, turned off the phone, was petting my cat. Next thing I knew, I'd been asleep for half an hour.
Hey, cats are great little napping partners because they got the purr going on. They help regulate. It's good to sleep with the furry babies sometimes.
But then my friend Jeff came over. We were doing some stuff and we were watching some TV. And we went to YouTube.
Did you watch the eclipse?
All of a sudden, oh my God, the eclipse is going on.
Not on YouTube.
So we went and watched it on YouTube, which is the best seats to see it because we had a really good shot of it. But then this will tell you too much about me. It was taking too long. You know, I was like, come on, eclipse and be moving on. And then I thought it's going to go till 4 a.m. and I don't have time.
A watch pot never boils and a watched eclipse never totally fully eclipses, I guess.
I guess, something like that. But I did enjoy seeing it. It was kind of cool to see it. And it looked really neat, especially on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it was the Griffith Observatory was showing it from California. So
beautiful.
They had a beautiful shot.
Oh, I bet that telescope view. See, now I do want to go see what it really looked like
awesome.
with
but
a
you
good
live
quality
downtown
camera.
like I do. Isn't there light pollution? Can you still see it?
That's what Travis was saying. Travis was on our balcony going, everyone turn off their lights.
You people, don't you know, live in the dark. Well, we don't want you to ever live in the dark. So every day we come to you with hopefully a show that will stimulate your thoughts and make you question the world around you, maybe find the answers to questions you already have. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at when you get a state education or from a public university or college, are you more likely to stay in your area and give back by working there? Or or is there migration of you to other places? Well, there's a new study out, look nationwide, at how they retain college graduates and educated people in one state. Do you stay and build your career there? The numbers may surprise you. Also, GLP-1s, got to get them in the right order.
That's right.
They're I don't want to say the craze, but they are when it comes to medication. They are the hot member of the band.
I think it's the biggest break in modern medicine for our lifetime. So I can't wait to get
But
into
why? What are they really doing to us?
Well, we're going to have to ask a doctor about that.
And we will in the next hour of the show. Also, Jay Pharoah, you know him from Saturday Night Live, Wonderful Impressions, maybe his new stand-up special that's streaming. He's going to be here with us.
I can't wait. I can't wait to have a funny man in that chair. Oh, sorry. You're funny too. He's probably a little funnier than you.
I don't think I'm funny. I think I'm warm. And I think I have a sense of humor about me, but I don't ever think I'm funny. If you were to ask me to stand up and tell jokes, I would crash and burn.
People don't realize that is an art that has to kind of be
I'm not
worked
funny
out on
like
stage.
that. I notice idiosyncrasies, and I think those are what I talk about that are funny.
Okay.
But I don't think I'm a good joke writer.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, more than you needed to know on that one. Also, last minute plans. What are you doing this weekend? We want to know. Start sending them in to talk@hellohouston.org. And Kam Franklin, she's got plans this weekend, and she's going to share them with us in a 5 questions with, I don't know, you going by Jimbo on 5 questions, or you Jim Kovacic?
Okay.
Very
I got a
professional. Thumbs up. Our executive producer is going to have his segment on today. But in the attempt to make you more educated, we're going into the headlines of the day. Take us in.
Okay, I got you. Deliberations in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial continue. Jurors must decide whether or not the former labor and delivery nurse is criminally responsible for killing her 3 children in 2023. Clancy has pleaded not guilty by reason of a lack of criminal responsibility. Her lawyers have argued she was experiencing postpartum psychosis when she killed Cora, Dawson, and Callan Clancy at the family's home in coastal Duxbury, Massachusetts in January of 2023. The rare mental illness is linked to the stress, sleep deprivation, and hormonal changes that followed childbirth. Prosecutors say Clancy planned the 3 killings and understood her actions were wrong. Jurors must decide whether she was criminally responsible, and if so, exactly what crime she committed. Have you been following the trial? What are your thoughts? You can call or text us always, 713-440-8870. I told Ernie I'm a very tinfoil hat when it comes to this trial. I'll tell you my reasons, but I'll let you start.
And I don't even want to give my reasons. I just want to give you an update on it. Earlier today, the day started in the hearings by the jury sending a question back in, and so they were called back into court. They wanted to take a look at the knife and the list of medications she was on while they're deliberating. As of the last moment we looked, things change quickly around here. They have not yet reached a verdict, and they're continuing this day of deliberation. Okay, you were going to say.
So I was going to say, well, actually, I want to clarify and say, blaming hormones for murder is the same as like blaming testosterone for some of these heinous crimes that men commit. I don't think it's a good, I don't think it's a good case for innocence, but there is so much reasonable doubt in this case. And I think that her lawyers have done a good job of saying, hey, like there is nothing for certain because there's so much back and forth. One thing I will say I am very annoyed by or angered by is the fact that there are 3 children dead. There is a woman who is now a paraplegic, and not ever once was the investigation ever turned to her partner who she lived with in the home. I'm talking about Patrick Clancy, her husband, who has now since remarried, who 3 weeks after the murder was in Costa Rica hiking with his mistress, who spent many nights in Manhattan with another woman. I think a man who wants a new life and a new wife is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a woman. And I'm very annoyed that this was never even looked at. Now, in that same breath, Lindsay did admit to doing this, but she doesn't remember. And I think a big part of why she doesn't remember is because she was being dosed, sedated heavily. And I think that she was a severely neglected wife. So that is part of my piece, but I could go on and on and on. What about you, Ernie?
To first address what you're saying, I don't know enough about the investigation. I don't know if they checked into he was out shopping, he had been sent on errands.
He was at CVS,
we believe. So I don't know what the security cameras show, the pacing, the timing, and all that. If the concept you are thinking, the potential of him being more physically involved with what happened than what we've been led to believe, could fit a timeline that actually works. I don't know enough of that to do it. So I don't know. If in fact there was some of that, I don't know why they didn't pursue that as the investigation.
Because he is a wealthy white man, and I think everyone just took his word for everything. I think that there is surveillance footage of him. Actually, he had her Apple Watch. Mm-hmm. I think he was texting himself in this exchange because, like I said, I think she had enough Seroquel, I think is the name of the drug, in her system to sedate a small horse. And we are supposed to believe that being heavily sedated, she was able to murder her kids, tie ligatures around their necks, slit her own wrists and neck wrong. She's still alive. She didn't do it right. She was a nurse, but apparently she did that wrong, and then was strong enough to move a bed and throw herself out of a window backwards. Like I said, that is enough reasonable doubt for me. In a case like this, to say, wait a minute, guys, did we really give this investigation enough time and attention? Did we even look at anyone else in this instance? So again, I'm with the TikTokers, the armchair investigators.
Earl Grey T-Cat says, "Preach, Tessa. He moved on so fast." Too fast.
Yeah. And I don't think he expected her to live, Ernie. And I think now that this trial, I think this is really throwing a big wrench in his plan for a new life.
Yeah. I have most definitely had my tinfoil hat moments in different stories. Like I said, I did not follow this story closely enough. I enjoy a good trial. I enjoy kind of a salacious trial to follow. This one, just the heinousness of the children, I just didn't want to follow.
It's a tragedy all the way around.
Case, but I hadn't followed the investigation. 713-440-8870. Julie from Galveston is on the line. Julie, what are you thinking about this?
Good morning, my friends at Hello Houston. I am so glad you're discussing this case today. I think everything about this case is horrific. Mm-hmm. But I think the most important thing to me is about women's health.
Yes.
And one of the biggest discrepancies and issues brought up in this is how long women suffer from postpartum depression. There's not enough studies, and there's a variety of studies. Some would say, 4 months. But some, like the World Health Organization, say up to a year. And this woman was obviously reaching out for help. Does that give her an excuse to kill somebody? No, but we also were looking at her mental state at the time of the killing. And I think that's what's so important about this case. It's sad that they have to come to this and that they're at this place. But I do think, along with menopause, along with girls having heavy periods, this is yet another instance of where women's health really needs more research and really needs more understanding. And hopefully it will, hopefully this will help aid in some of that. And maybe help other women too. Yeah, that's my comment on that.
No, Julie, thank you very much for sharing and for opening our eyes to other aspects of this conversation. We're interested in what other folks think, feel. If you are listening right now and have an opinion and want to share, 713-440-8870. I do want to say that I think that she brings it back to the point in this story that I am most fascinated with, is that the attention back on responsibility for actions. Right. And when there are medications involved, when there are moments of insanity or temporary mental breakdown and things, are you still responsible for what you did, or are you not responsible for it? And I think it's putting that conversation back in the headlines, because one argument is anyone who commits any kind of these crimes are not socially healthy to do these kind of things. If anybody kills somebody, there's something at play that's off. At what point does it become you can use that as a defense for your actions, and when is it still your responsibility? When do you cross that line over?
Absolutely.
And so I'm curious to learn more about that and see. It'll be interesting to see where the jury comes down on it. I had not been following this case closely enough to hear the husband theory.
Yeah.
Now I'm fascinated. Now I want to go back and start looking into the details.
Go find your wormhole. I've got another
take
one
me to
for
something else. Okay, give me something else.
Okay, earlier this week, Governor Greg Abbott directed the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board to work on pathways for students to earn bachelor's degrees in 3 years. Such a program could have college students take about 90 hours of classes instead of 120 to earn a degree, thus reducing the cost of higher education, shortening the time for a degree completion, and allowing the state to respond to workforce demands quicker. Officials at the coordinating board must establish a working group to develop recommendations based on student demand, employer needs, institutional approval requirements, and other needs. Now, this announcement comes amid a broader push by Abbott to address the affordability of higher education in Texas. He has mandated a tuition freeze for public colleges and universities since the 23 to 24 school year. And this week, he expressed support for legislation requiring four-year universities to offer financial discounts to undergraduates taking summer classes. What are your thoughts on Abbott's push? You can call or text us 713-440-8870.
Yeah, I'll give you this opinion here. I think it puts us at a disadvantage in the national and maybe even global job market that our graduates only have 3-year degrees, because we already look at community colleges as 2-year degrees differently than we look at 4-year degree. If everyone isn't saying, 90 hours is enough to get a degree, because it seems the standard is 120 everywhere, what does that do to our job pool? What does it do to our student graduation pool? That's my first reaction.
I love that, because that is definitely something to consider. I start with, I appreciate trying to make anything affordable for young college students. I appreciate that. But I think the timing where Texas is as low as we are in education, I don't think this is the time to say, okay, let's cut a few corners here. Texas, again, at the bottom of rankings in education. It's not time to lower the standards. We've had so many teachers be concerned about literacy and things like that. So I just think the timing right before the midterms is very interesting. I've got another doozy for you.
Okay, hold on 1 second, though. I want to say education. I mean, I'm already annoyed with shrinkflation at the grocery store. I don't want shrinkflation in our schools.
Shrinkation?
They're giving you less of it than you need. Okay, give me the next one.
President Donald Trump said he's renaming Lake Ontario to be known as Lake America in the United States as he exacerbates his trade war with Canada. Trump said in a post on Truth Social that he was considering the name change. The president signed an executive order that updated the lake's name from the U.S. Geographic Naming Service on Thursday. Trump cannot force Canada to follow his preferred naming convention, however. The move is reminiscent of the renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That happened in 2025. What are your thoughts on this little move?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I said, does anyone call it the Gulf of America? Now I think all we do is we just call it the Gulf.
I think some people do. I think a lot of people were like, yeah, this is one for us. And listen, if things like that excite you, good for you. Release the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's so easy to
rename things, we're renaming it. Let's make it the Trump files. Because under the Trump administration, they're holding them back.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, there we go. If you want to rename something, Lake Ontario, come on, just let it be.
It's smoke and mirrors to do this, and you can't. In a trade war with Canada right now, let's rename a lake for smoke and mirrors. That's what it appears to me to be, and you can immediately change the name of something, but you cannot change the fact that people are suffering. People are concerned. So go ahead, rename something with the stroke of your pen. Rename something. Release the Epstein files, and you can't change the way the people are feeling right now.
Yeah. The smoke and mirrors thing, I was recently thinking to myself, I was very concerned about it. It was like, oh my God, am I starting to have memory problems? Because I can't keep track of all the storylines anymore. And then I realized it's not me. It's the world around us. It's this administration constantly putting new things out. I can't follow everything. I can't be up on everything because it's so easy to distract. And if you read back to The Art of the Deal and the whole way that Trump has functioned in his life, the idea is throw everything at them. They can't catch you on
keep
everything.
Up. You can't keep up. We have one more call we're going to take from New Caney. Rick, what are your thoughts? I think you wanted to talk about the rename. Oh no, on college.
3 years as opposed to 4 years for a degree. What do you think? Rick, you with us?
4 years.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can now. Continue.
Okay. Yes, I think 3 years as opposed to 4 years is all wrong. I think this state is making a huge mistake by underfunding public schools and public colleges. When I went to school back in the late 70s, early 80s, it cost me about $800 a semester, including books. And now it costs, I've got a granddaughter going to A&M for vet school, and it's like $9,000 a semester. Mm-hmm. They underfund the colleges in this state. They need to pay more towards colleges.
Thank you very much for that, Rick. And I'm happy you called and shared that with us. And we're always, as we say, interested in your thoughts and ideas on these topics. Give us a call, 713-440-8870. Almost forgot our number. But you know what I'm not going to forget? We're going to talk about Texas workforce coming up right after the break.
Hello.
Your favorite.
Houston Public Media gives us content that we don't get from commercial resources.
Houston Public Media is my pathway to being a well-informed citizen of the Houston community.
Free journalism provided by Houston Public Media and provides a concise perspective on the morning's news.
Houston Public Media helps strengthen our community.
That's why Houston Public Media is for listeners and viewers like me.
Intersecting with history. That's next time on the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
The Moth Radio Hour tomorrow at noon here on News 88.7.
Early radio enthusiasts discovered something about shortwave broadcasting.
Radio waves are sent out in all directions.
That was different from AM and FM.
When these waves strike the antenna of a receiving set, we hear sound originating at that very moment, hundreds or even thousands of miles away.
Long live the shortwaves on this week's On the Media from WNYC.
On the Media tomorrow at 5 p.m. on News 88.7.
Support comes from the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. Geometric forms, mosaic-like landscapes, and poetic structures define Paul Klee's Blue Mountain. This and others in Masterpieces from the Museum Bergruen, now on view. More at mfah.org.
Support comes from the Alley Theater, now playing The Girl on the Train, based on the best-selling novel. This psychological thriller continues through August 30th. Tickets at alleytheater.org. Support also from the Moth Story Slam, September 1st at Lambert Hall. Doors open at 7 p.m. The theme is 9 to 5, stories about being on the clock. Tickets at houstonpublicmedia.org/The Moth. Once again, houstonpublicmedia.org/The Moth.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
A new report from the Strada Education Foundation is looking at where college-educated workers are staying, where they're moving, and how retaining Native workers impacts a state's workforce and economy. For Texas, the numbers offer a closer look at how well the state is retaining college-educated workers and attracting talent from other parts of the country. Here to break down what the data shows for the Lone Star State is Dr. Peter Bahr, Vice President of Employer Engagement and Managing Research Director for the Institute for the Future of Work at the Strada Education Foundation. Dr. Bahr, welcome to Hello Houston.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I guess I would start with a surprising number is that 2/3 of graduates tend to stay in their area. Is that accurate?
It is, yes. In our study, we found that across the country, about 2/3 of college graduates, about 2/3 of states' college-educated workforces are composed of individuals who graduated from their own colleges.
What other numbers might be surprising for us?
Yeah, so let me sort of back out a little bit and maybe answer the question about why we are interested in this work at all, right? Yeah. So if we come out to the 10,000-foot level to put Texas in context, we know that a highly educated population really is just critical to sustaining economic growth, something that obviously Governor Abbott was referring to in his talking points. And we know that as a result, many states have set very ambitious goals to expand their college-educated workforces. But by and large, states are making those investments blindly. They don't really have good information, accurate information about where their own college-educated workers come from. And so we conducted the study to help close that gap, right? And so what we found was that despite much attention to the need to recruit college-educated workers from other states, and in fact, states are largely building their college-educated workers right there at home. They're building them with their own high school students, with their own college graduates. And in fact, about half of college-educated workers, a little bit more than half, 55%, live in the state where they attended both high school and college.
Does nationwide, does it match the same as what's happening in Texas? Are we on par with the rest of the country, or do we see something different when you look at our state?
Yeah, I mean, Texas was really remarkable in our study here. We found that Texas is above average in terms of the share of the population, the share of the college-educated workforce that graduated from the state's own high schools and colleges, about 61%. But what really struck us is when we look at the college retention rate, the share of college graduates, the share of graduates that graduated from Texas's colleges that remain in state to work, it's about 84% in Texas compared to about 66% across the country. I mean, that is nearly a 20-point gap to the average for the country. It's quite remarkable.
Could I interpret these statistics, these numbers, in a slightly more negative way in saying that we educate them, but we don't equip them with what they need to move on, and therefore they stay close to home? They don't have the freedom to go further. If we're looking at state universities and such, that maybe economically they weren't in the position to see the world as their oyster, and therefore they graduate and stay closer to home.
I mean, our study doesn't tackle that particular problem. I have a more optimistic view of it, that the economy is growing in Texas and there's plenty of opportunities to keep people. But there are other factors that we found play an important role. I know the Hispanic population is the largest share of Texas, and we found in the study that Hispanic college-educated workers are disproportionately likely, much more likely to be in this homegrown group, having attended high school and college in their own state.
I think, speaking as a Latino woman, family is so important, and it's so hard to detach from your family unit when, I often say, I don't really have a lot of friends. I'm just kind of friends with my family. And also to speak to the fact that Texas loves Texas. And there is a state pride about this place, and working here and staying here seems to be a source of pride for a lot of students. What other statistics? I'm just interested in what other statistics that you take away from this that we might be interested to know in.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Another piece that we found that I think is quite striking is the important role of the regional public four-year universities, the broad access 4 years. When we think about public universities, go right to UT Austin, for example, as the flagship for the state. And indeed, the flagship publics do produce a fair share, a large share of the homegrown talent for states generally. But the real backbone of that homegrown talent pipeline is the regional publics. Actually, the share of those graduates who are homegrown, same high school, same college, same state, is much larger. So Texas State, San Houston, Lamar, these are universities where we would expect, if we look specifically at them, that a much larger share of their graduates came from the state's high schools and stayed to work after they graduated.
What is do you think, the benefit, the advantage of that pattern of behavior, of staying where you were educated? If in fact the workforce isn't suffering, there are people to work, does it really matter where someone goes to work? Why are we looking at this?
I mean, you got to think about the way states organize their investments in higher education, right? So they're, with the states seeking the goal of growing their college-educated workforces, they're looking at where are those investments going to yield the best return, right? So investing in your public universities is clearly a key component of that. From our study, with such a large share of these graduates staying to work in their own states, and the regional public specifically are serving populations, often local populations, and so the key that we took away from that was that not only can states invest heavily in regional universities, but also that the regional universities themselves can be working to build bridges to the local economy to make sure that graduates coming out of the regional universities are already connected to quality jobs in the local workforce.
We are speaking with Dr. Peter Bahr from the Institute for the Future of Work at the Strada Education Foundation. If you would like to join the conversation, you can always text or call us 713-440-8870. So what strategies does Texas use to continue to strengthen this education to career pipeline, making sure that we kind of keep all of our top talent?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, we didn't come away from this to, with offering a specific policy recommendation for any particular state. States are all so unique, but ensuring that the programs of study that are available in the universities have, that they are meeting those high demand fields. And it seems that that's what Governor Abbott was talking about. How do we fill the shortfalls in the workforce that we need to fill? And we can make sure that we have the college educated workers to go into those jobs that the economy really needs.
Do we see that the states that invest more in the public universities and colleges have a better retention rate? Is there any correlation there?
Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my apologies. We looked at a number of correlates of that college retention rate, and indeed the higher investments are associated with a higher level of retention of your college graduates. We're not going to put a causal claim on it. The issue is that there's so many factors that affect a state's college retention rate, the share of their college graduates that they keep after they leave college. We can look at what's correlated without being able to say for certain that tweaking this one little variable will result in that little outcome, right? But indeed, states that have lower crime rates, growing economies, that are investing in higher education, these are the states that tend, on average, to have higher retention rates.
Do states do a good job of trying to recruit from outside the state, or do they spend maybe too much of their emphasis on trying to keep who they have locally? And I guess to follow that question, by bringing in the diversity of folks from outside universities and stuff would ultimately benefit a workforce possibly.
I mean, it's certainly there's the potential for, meeting additional workforce needs or excess workforce needs by trying to draw folks from other states, from other places. And in our study, some states did build their college-educated workforces primarily from imported talent, like importing college-educated workers from elsewhere. But the bottom line for this study was that across the country, and even more so in Texas, the college-educated workforce is built from the state's own high schools and colleges. And I think that's a very exciting outcome. It says, like, okay, where should our attention primarily be, not exclusively be, but as we develop policies, as we contemplate how to create and sustain economic growth, the first place to look is how can we strengthen that pipeline from our own high schools to our own colleges to our own workforce.
Does Strada look at any of the correlation between, okay, yes, if you earn a degree in higher education, you are going to likely you can get a good job, that leads to earnings? Or are you seeing, hey, it's really hard to find work right now and I'm fresh out of college? What does the data show there?
Yeah, it's clear that there are some disjunctures between the college graduates that our country produces and the jobs that are in demand, right? And so I'm excited by the attention that the Institute for the Future of Work is applying to this, Strada Education Foundation, and many other organizations to making sure that the production of college graduates, right? Where we put our focus in terms of preparing individuals to enter the workforce really is well aligned with quality jobs. And there's a number of ways we can do that. I think work-based learning is a critical component, making sure that whatever someone is studying in college, that they have that experience of working in the workforce in a educationally aligned job that will help them make that bridge from graduating into a good job.
As much as we talk about the benefit of if you're investing in the public education and you retain the employees, that's a good payoff for your investment. I want to flip this one a little bit and say, does having a strong connection to public education and staying local once you graduate look attractive to industry? Does then that make industry want to move into your area because you are building, educating a better workforce that is going to stay there? So instead of them leaving us to go to the industry is coming to us because that's where our workforce is.
Yeah, without question, employers need to be able to fill the positions in their companies to make sure that they can continue to grow, sustain their objectives. So I wouldn't be able to comment specifically on those patterns, but I would speculate, as you do, that having access to well-prepared workers who are ready to walk into the jobs and do those jobs would certainly be appealing to employers.
I'm hearing a lot, especially I have younger siblings, and some of their friends, a lot of friends are deciding not to go the higher education route. They're saying, let me pick up a trade skill because that college degree doesn't mean that it isn't correlated to earning more than I would if I just went maybe like a blue collar route. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a fair point that there are well-paying jobs that don't require a college education, trades, for example. And in fact, I am kind of unconventional in my field. I put myself through college, community college, non-selective 4-year onto a PhD program. And I did it working as a wastewater treatment plant operator, a sewage treatment plant operator. And most of my colleagues there didn't have college degrees, and we were well paid and had benefits and so on. It was a good job, and it got me where I was trying to go. And many of them stayed in that field and still are there. But when we look across the whole spectrum of jobs, many of the highest paying jobs, many of the highest quality jobs, they do require a college degree. And we're thinking about engineers and nurses and doctors and lawyers and so on. And so a college degree remains the surest way to stable work in a good paying job. We just need to make sure that our education is aligned with what's actually in demand in the workforce.
We have a call from Jersey Village. Max is on the line. Max, what's on your mind?
Howdy. I was listening to what you guys were talking about, kind of the retention rates, and you mentioned how some of the things some of those factors might be a little bit of, for lack of a better phrase, the tribalism that we kind of foster here as Texans. And I'm wondering if there's a correlation between those factors that kind of keeps the Texans here, and if there's a correlation between attracting other students or graduates from other places to here. Are they the same kind of attractants that keep us here, or are they kind of different?
Oh, I mean, that's such a good question. We do not have data on that for this from this study, but I'm very curious myself. I find myself with some allegiances to places I've lived, and those are hard to shake. We were in Michigan for a number of years and recently moved to Virginia, and I brought my 4 kids with me, and I can assure you they are still true blue Wolverine fans. Go blue. And I don't think I'm ever going to pull that away from them.
Well, Doctor, before we let you go, I'm curious, now that this study has been done, what does it open to you to move to next? Where does the next curiosity lies and what you want to achieve and learn?
Oh, yeah, that's I have an endless well of curiosity. We are already in full speed through the second phase of this study, expanding the frame that we're looking at. We're looking much more closely at community colleges. We're drilling down into that regional public component. I think it's something we really have to understand. The regional publics are not celebrated as much as I think they should be, and there's an opportunity to show how important they are to the homegrown talent production. And we're trying to understand more about the specific causal factors that underlie that higher college retention rate in some states so that we can offer more concrete advice to policymakers about how to keep their own college graduates.
Dr. Peter Bahr, Vice President of Employer Engagement and Managing Research Director for the Institute for the Future of Work at the Strada Education Foundation. Thank you for joining us on Hello Houston today.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Fun stuff. Okay, coming up, we're going to get ready to laugh. Do comedians feel obliged to make us laugh? They don't. We are going to speak to SNL alum Jay Pharoah as Hello Houston continues.
With federal support gone, Houston Public Media needs a stronger foundation for the future. The Houston Public Media Resiliency Fund is our response to ensure this service remains strong, stable, and community-powered. Your gift today helps us stay on the air tomorrow and the day after that. Give now to the Resiliency Fund at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Next time on Climate One, protest is an age-old strategy to bring about change.
When we take action, when we join with others and saying, no, this is not who we are, this is not what we want, your values and your body comes into alignment in such a powerful way.
But marching in the streets isn't the only way to make a difference. Protest and beyond on the next Climate One.
That's Sunday at 6 a.m. on News 88.7.
Hello, I'm Nikki Beatty. Join me for this week's Arts Hour from the BBC.
With British actor Aaron Peer on his role in Lanterns, Australian actor Shabana Aziz, the American author Ruth Ozeki, legendary South African singers Ladysmith Black Mambazo, and Oscar-winning documentary maker Orlando von Einsiedel. That's all in the Arts Hour from the BBC.
The Arts Hour, 10 p.m. tonight and tomorrow at 11 p.m. on News 88.7.
Houston Public Media, in partnership with Texas Southern University, brings to you The Vibe. R&B, hip-hop, and neo-soul. Music that resonates with all ages. The Vibe on 88.7 HD3 and on the Houston Public Media app.
Houston Public Media is licensed to the University of Houston system, governed by the UH Board of Regents. Information about open meetings, dates, times, and locations is online at uhsystem.edu.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
If you need a few laughs to get you through the end of summer, comedian and actor Jay Pharoah is coming to Houston. He's here, known for his 6 seasons on SNL. That's Saturday Night Live, okay? A wide range of celebrity impersonations and impressions. Pharoah has built a career in stand-up television and film. He'll be at the Houston Improv tonight through the 30th. He's got several shows throughout the weekend, and he's joining us now. Welcome to Hello Houston, Jay.
Hello Houston, how you doing? That was my Lil Wayne saying Hello Houston in the style of Hello Brooklyn. But hey, what's going on with y'all? How y'all feeling?
I feel great. I love having an entertainer in that chair right there.
Yeah, especially after everything y'all talked about. I mean, good God.
Was that
man?
Was that a little too serious?
I mean, but y'all do what y'all do. I was just sitting outside like, I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about.
Well, lucky for you, we're gonna talk about you.
Yeah, let's do it.
So hopefully you know some things about that. You know, you were doing
a
Trump impersonation before we came on, their impression, and
Absolutely. It's the greatest black guy impersonation of Trump that's ever been created. I love when the blacks impersonate me, especially Godfrey, one of my favorites. Jamie Foxx, I love him as well. Jamie Foxx, I love him. Beautiful hairline. Absolutely phenomenal hairline. I know about hairlines because mine is totally, it needs what they call propecia. I need a little propecia.
So good. It's so good.
It's always with he's got a hot meatball in his mouth or something. You know, it's
Do you
hot
get
meatball.
a read on your audience by which impressions they react to most? And does that help guide you where you're going?
I mean, well, I can't even say that because, you know, impressions aren't like I don't lead with those. So, you know, it's just but when I do Trump and if I hear crickets, I know where I'm at. But usually most people don't. Most people are like real respectful and they listen because I don't, you know, I'm not leaning to either side. I'm keeping it right in the middle. So, you know what I mean? I talk about everybody. So, you know, you got to keep it equal. As long as you keep it equal, they're not going to get mad like, all right now, buddy. That was enough about that trip now. Talk about somebody else, all right? Biden was in there just timing out. Why don't you talk about that? He needed one of those color wheels from the Apple phone or the Apple computer because he kept buffering. Talk about that, boy. You know
love
what I mean?
it. I love it because you play with the words like everyone. I can see it through your mouth with the impressions are changing. So you're in Houston for 3 nights, and do you come here often? Is this a city that loves themselves some Jay Pharoah, or how does it work?
I love Houston. Hate the roaches. Love Houston though. Love Houston. Now I'm saying I don't know if they got roaches. I was looking at an Instagram.
You might see a roach. You might see a roach.
We have
by
the
the
tree
bayou.
ones, the real big
the
roaches.
water bugs.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's that's.
And you're wearing a jacket. You got to lose that. It's a little hot outside.
You know what? I just didn't want to put the guns on display. Listen, man.
Put
I
on
could
this way. Yeah,
he's going to
YouTube.
show them off.
Look at it's Friday.
Yeah,
This is why our show also
Fitness
streams on
Friday.
YouTube, so folks can see this.
And look, I didn't want to do this because I'm like nobody laughs at muscles unless you're Terry Crews. You know what I'm saying?
They look great.
You're not. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have
Lots
been
of push-ups
working-
for you.
Lots of push-ups.
Yeah.
Lots of cardio. Lots of squat pushing the sled. I got a whole I pay enough to my trainer. Yeah. So yeah, he better be doing something. There better be some change, or he will get fired. You know what I mean? We gonna get somebody anybody else. But nah, man, I ain't want to do that to y'all. You know what I mean? You ain't supposed to I mean, I know you can carry guns in Texas, but, you know, I ain't want to do that to people. So I was just trying to keep everything
That's
on.
why I keep my shirt on.
Yeah,
So,
you don't want to intimidate anybody. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So now I'm sitting here looking like Terry Cruz at Training Day. Y'all remember when he was in it with him when he was in the jungle? And that was like one of his first roles after he did Battle Dome. And so I love Terry Crews.
You like Terry Crews?
Yeah. I love Terry Crews, man. It's just the way that he explains everything. It's just, listen, man, it's really enthusiastic. Oh, my God, they could win the competition. I love it. I love it. You know what I mean?
Okay, wait, you said
Real
training.
positive.
You said training day. One of our listeners said, he's got to do Denzel.
Oh, he said, they said I got to do Denzel. That's what they said. They want me to do the Denzel. Okay, all right. Well, I'm doing it right now. Now, who is that? And who is that listener? Because obviously that listener's been following me around for a long time, you know, because if you listen to this one, you know, you've been following me since the beginning. You understand? I'm talking about 09 YouTube videos. You understand? Alpaca. That's $25,000 alpaca. You don't rub that stuff. You blot that. Put the club soda up there. Huh? Tango. Huh?
All right.
That's
talk
right.
to me about crafting
Talk to you about
impression.
crafting an impression. Okay, in this voice, you want me to stay here? Okay,
No, you can go anywhere you want
go
with
anywhere
the
I
voice,
want
but
to.
I'm
Okay,
curious
huh?
because whenever I've tried to do one, for me, it's trying to figure out how their mouth works.
Exactly.
Finding out the placement of the teeth and the lips to get you the sound. Is that for you, or how do you visualize it
Teach
if you
us.
do it?
Well, if I'm going to teach you anything, I can tell you this. First of all, you got to be naturally talented to do so, you know.
We're out.
Second thing.
Yeah, forget me.
Forget you, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you were doing it, right? You did something.
I
did
tried.
something.
It was,
you were cooking up a little something in there. There was a little fire inside the kitchen, huh? But you also, it's just all about the, like you're saying, it's the mouth, it's the face. You get the face first, right? You understand what people are talking, so you can draw your vowels and your words from the exact same place. That's what it takes. This took me 3 years to get, you understand? That's right, 3 years, and I'm still trying to perfect it, huh?
It's really good.
Okay, it's really good?
It's really good.
Okay, all right. Hey, I had to stop doing this around my mom. She was getting hot. I was like, wait a second. Remember, I'm your son, okay? I'm your son doing an impersonation. I'm the dude disguised as another dude playing another dude, huh? Robert Downey Jr., huh?
That's so good. It's
Yeah,
Were
man.
you
incredible.
always able
It's
to do it?
incredible.
Yeah, since I was 6 years old, man.
Yeah,
I
who's the
started-
first
That
one you
probably
did?
won you a lot of favor, right? Making people laugh. Go ahead.
Yeah, it won me a lot of girlfriends back in the day. I never thought girls had cooties. I was 6 years old. That's when I started. Yeah, but this girl I was dating at the time, and she had a boyfriend list. She was a pre-thought, you know what I mean? She had a boyfriend
At
list.
6
I was
years old?
At 6 years old, she had a boyfriend list. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
we could tell. You could see her future. Anyway, she told me I was good at one impression, and then I just kept going on with the rest of them. So it was Gilbert Gottfried was my first one, and then it was Sally Field and Forrest Gump. And then and Bubba as well. Bubba Shrimp. I love Shrimp. Shrimp Gump. I can't do it no more. It's been
Wait,
years.
you could do Sally? I'm interested in the woman impression.
dying for it. Life is like a box of chocolate for it. You never know what you're going to get.
Now, my voice was very light back then.
Softer. Okay.
You know, the
Okay.
testosterone hadn't kicked in yet.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like that, I did that, and then it was cartoon characters like Ed and Eddie, freaking Dexter's Lab, Cow and Chicken. I was doing Rugrats, Rocko's Modern Life. I used to do Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life and freaking Looney Tune characters, and then it just shifted to celebrities. So I've been doing this for 32 years now. It's crazy.
Our chat saying, shout out to you, Jay. You're super talented and
thank you.
hilarious.
Oh,
that's
thank you so
that's a
much.
great Denzel.
Oh, thank you.
You're probably freezing now in the studio with
yeah.
your shirt.
No, I'm hot because I have
Okay.
hyperhidrosis. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know what that is.
I know.
That's when you sweat a lot for no reason. I'm naturally hot.
Okay,
I don't
you run
get-
hot.
Yeah, I'm a polar bear.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get cold very easily. The AC is on -20 in
Where's
my house.
home base? Where's home base for you?
Where's home base? It's in California.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell you exactly where it's at because I
Street
got
address?
Give me your
Yeah,
address.
that's right. You guys are hilarious. You know what? Shout out. You know, one publication. I'm not even gonna say who they are, but they put out when I bought the house. I was so mad, man.
Oh, no.
I was so ticked off, man. Yeah, but it's all good. If you can try to hop over that fence if you want. I'm telling you, baby, we strapped. Yeah, that's right. We strapped. We got them. We are strapped with knowledge. You see what I did there? I switched things.
I was
You
about
know
to
what I
say,
mean?
being strapped. Yeah, you could be texting. You could be texting immediately.
Yeah, two like Yosemite Sam. Go
Whenever
ahead.
you're introduced, I'm sure they always say SNL. He was from SNL.
Yeah.
I'm curious. when the idea came that you were going to try for SNL and what it's actually like. We see so much now in pop culture about the experience of SNL.
Right.
You lived it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a year before I got on the show, and I always wanted to be on that show, and I was told multiple times you should be on SNL. But a kid from Virginia, 757 area, I just didn't know how to do it. So I didn't know what to do. So I just started going on the road for myself back in 2009 with my sister, who was also my manager, still my manager to this day.
Wow.
And literally that summer, I did a showcase at Caroline's on Broadway. And that's when the agent saw me. Josh Pearl, he was my agent back in the day, and he got me the audition. I went in 2010, summer 2010. I tested, and 3 weeks later I was on the show. So, but I kept speaking it into existence. I said, I don't know how I'm going to get on this show, but it's going to happen.
How nerve-wracking is the actual audition? I've heard if Lorne Michaels there, he gives you nothing.
Oh, I didn't see him. You know what I mean? I didn't see anybody. I was real focused here. I was not looking this way. I heard laughs over here, which is a good sign.
From what I hear, that's a good sign.
A good sign, but I did not look over there. I kept going. It was like start and finish. Get in there, hit them, keep going, and finish. Do not clam up. Go right through your stuff, and that's exactly what I did, and somehow it worked. The guy who was doing he was on the camera. He said, "That was one of the best auditions we've had."
Oh, that was a great sign.
That was a great sign.
Okay.
At 22, I was like, "Wow, this is crazy."
A baby.
Does working the clubs before that prepare you to know how, no matter what the feedback is, to move forward and get through the piece?
Yeah, I guess so. And also, I was a theater kid too. You know, so I wasn't scared of the stage, I didn't have stage fright. I think I had stage fright when I was a kid, and that's because I was ousted on stage to play this role as Powhatan and Pocahontas, and I didn't know the lines. And my teacher knew I didn't know the lines, and he still put me in front of everybody. From that moment forth, after being scared like that and having my friends feed me like, I was never scared again. And I was like, I'm never going to let that happen. Cut to when I was in 11th grade, and I did this play called Damn Yankees, and the lead dropped out 2 weeks before showtime. 2 weeks before we went, and I got the role. And in those 2 weeks, I had all these lines to memorize. I memorized all the lines, did the performance. The first night I was there, Mr. Sammons was in the audience. The teacher who put me up there as Powhatan, he said, "I always knew you had it in you. I was just trying to pull it out of you."
Wow.
I said, that's crazy. You could have done it in a better way.
he sent you to the lion's den, but you came out.
But I came out.
You came out stronger.
And listen, that's the narrative for SNL. Listen, it's the lion's den. You go in there.
I was going to say, after 6 years, what changes in you?
You could do any job that you want to.
Everything else is light work.
Everything else is light work.
Yeah.
You have to, at SNL, from Monday through Saturday, Sunday morning, you are working. You feel me? Yeah. So Monday, you got pitch. Tuesday is writing night. Wednesday is read through. Thursday, Friday rehearsal, and then Saturday is the show, and we run it 3 times. We do run through, dress, and then we do live. So it's a lot. And then you go to the party where you still have to be working because you're still trying to get on for the next week because you have to audition for your job every week.
And Jay, you played Barack Obama on SNL for 4 years. I mean, what a major, major role.
Oh, man.
How do you get up for such a big, you kind of told us it's in you. You're kind of built for this. Your life has sharpened you to do this.
I've got to say this. Being on that show and being able to portray such a powerful, cool figure, it does change things. I went through puberty twice. Understand? Things happen a couple of times because when I was on that show and I had to be in character and I wanted to go a little bit overboard, and Lorne was like, no, pull it back. Barack has got to be presidential. I'm like, but he wants to smack one of these hosts.
You know it.
I do. I do. I'm from Chi-Town, baby.
I love
We used to
you.
smack hoes in Chi-Town.
I'm obsessed with you.
Jay,
I'm so
thank
glad
you
you
so
came.
much for
Thank
coming
you.
in. Joining us live in studio.
Yeah, and also,
Wonderful.
man, Quiz with Balls, man. We on our this is third season just ended. Hopefully we do 4 and 5, man. It's just, hey, things are popping. Shout out to Fox, because that's where I'm at now. All of my work.
Jay will be at the Improv tonight at 7:30 through Sunday. Thank you again for joining us.
Oh, thank
Jay
you for
Pharoah.
having me, man.
What a joy.
Yeah,
We're going to take
boy.
a quick break. We'll be back with more Hello
So
Houston
good.
right after this.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
It's a minute before 12 o'clock here at News 88.7. Good morning, I'm Jack Williams. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Houston Theater Week, a citywide celebration of live performances. Participating organizations include theater, dance, and music presenters. Returning through the 30th. Tickets at houstontheaterweek.com. Another warm day after that morning rain today. Chance of maybe some more thunderstorms this afternoon, the high of around 96. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms, then turns mostly clear, the low 79. Then tomorrow, more sunshine, maybe some storms in the afternoon, the high of around 96.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, President Trump is in town to present a Congressional Space Medal of Honor to NASA's Artemis II crew. Houston Public Media reporter Michael Atkinson is live at Johnson Space Center. We'll discuss this and more as we continue diving into the top headlines of the day. I'm Tessa Barrera.
And I'm Ernie Manous. What really is happening with GLP-1 drugs and what's next after Ozempic and Wegovy? Dr. Sarah Nadeem helps us separate hype from the science.
Plus, it's Friday, so that means last-minute plans, notable events happening in and around our area, and we invite you to share yours. What are you attending, organizing, or just want us to be aware of?
That's right. Give us a call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Remember, you can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. Today marks 6 months since the United States and Israel went to war with Iran, with direct talks essentially at a standstill. NPR's Hadil Al-Shalchi reports Tehran, in the meantime, has turned the Strait of Hormuz into its strategic weapon.
When Israel and the U.S. went to war with Iran on February 28th, one of the stated goals was to bring down the regime in Tehran. While the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei delivered a blow to the Islamic Republic, Iran's leaders have managed to hold on to power, and instead of collapsing, the regime has taken an even harder line. In the past 6 months, Iran blockaded the Strait of Hormuz, disrupting global oil supplies that have been felt at the gas pump worldwide. The war has had severe economic consequences for Iran. The cost of living has skyrocketed. Some Iranians say they're buying groceries on credit and find it hard to track down medicine. Hadil Al-Shalchi, NPR News, Istanbul.
About 2,500 people are still unaccounted for after deadly flooding along the China-Nepal border this week. Chinese officials say more than 500 of them on the Tibet side. Among the missing are at least 264 nationals. NPR's Jennifer Pack reports rescue crews have reached the hardest-hit area after operations were briefly suspended over fears an upstream lake could overflow.
The lake was formed after an enormous chunk of ice snapped off a glacier, triggering waves of mud, water, and ice barreling down the Himalayas on Wednesday. Trees and homes were swept away or submerged. Chinese state media showed aerial shots of the Geelong border checkpoint buried under a mudslide, including a 6-story building. Some of the debris jammed up the water. A lake started forming upstream, and it's been filling up. It's also been raining in the area. Chinese rescue workers are racing to reduce the risk of more flooding, and police in Nepal say the Chinese have told them to be on alert on their side of the border. Jennifer Pack, NPR News, Beijing.
The White House is honoring the first group of astronauts to travel beyond low Earth orbit since 1972 and to travel farther than any other human. NASA Commander Reed Weissman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen of the Canadian Space Agency travel around the moon and back during a 9-day mission earlier this year. President Trump has presented them with the Congressional Space Medal of Honor.
Our nation will conquer, and we will conquer indeed this vast frontier that we have before us, and we'll reach American courage, and we'll use American genius and daring and all of the things that we have that nobody else can ever compete with. We will explore it, we will tame it, and we will win it. We will always win.
President Trump speaking moments ago from the Johnson Space Center in Houston. From Washington, this is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. The Houston police officer at the center of the botched Harding Street raid in 2019 has pleaded guilty to federal charges. Gerald Goins was charged with deprivation of rights under color of law, resulting in bodily injury. During the raid gone wrong, Goins shot and killed Dennis Tuttle and Regina Nicholas. During the action, which also left Goins and 4 other HPD officers injured. A 30-year-old man is charged with murder after investigators say he called 911 and admitted to stabbing his father at a Northwest Harris County home. Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a house on Stoneside Drive Thursday morning and found 64-year-old Aubrey Sanders dead with multiple stab wounds. The suspect, identified as Liam Sanders, was taken into custody at the scene. President Trump woke up in Texas this morning. He stayed the night in Houston after spending the evening at a GOP fundraiser for Ken Paxton's U.S. Senate bid.
We're working very hard. We want to win that race. He's running against a man who should never be. We have a very good candidate, Ken Paxton, and he's running against Telefrico, they call him, because he is a little freaky, and that's not a man that represents the value of Texas.
The survey by the Texas Public Opinion Research has Tallarico leading Paxton 48 to 42%, his biggest lead so far. The poll also shows Tallarico leading independents by 21 points. After a 2-year moratorium, 15,000 Houston water utility customers face shutoffs next week. Shutoffs will resume next Tuesday for many customers who owe more than $500 and haven't paid in at least 90 days. The approximate 15,000 customers owe $30 million to Houston. Taking a look at weather, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms late this afternoon, otherwise partly sunny with a high near 95 degrees. Right now, mostly sunny on 90 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from Schwab, offering the Schwab Teen Investor Account, where teens can gain hands-on investing experience. It's co-owned by parents and teens, so parents can monitor the account while teens learn how to invest. More at schwab.com. This is NPR.
Live from Houston Public Media News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
Had you been listening to the last hour of the show, you would have thought President Trump, who's in town, was here in our studio.
That's right. We had a great comedian, Jay Pharoah, in. He does a great Trump. He does a great Obama.
He does a great everything.
Yeah.
He's such a good impersonator, but also a great comedian, very funny. But he had started, before we even got out of break, to introduce him. He was already doing Donald Trump here in the chair. And we're like, oh, my Lord.
Automatic.
And, yeah, Donald Trump is in the region. He's down at NASA giving awards to our astronauts. But he was not here in studio. Don't get confused by that.
We didn't mean to throw you off.
We didn't mean to. It was a great first hour.
Oh my gosh. Ending with Jay was he has just talent just oozing. He automatically switching between those impressions. I was very impressed.
Well, I find that interesting, having interviewed a lot of comedians over the years. Many of them are very serious, quiet, almost negative kind of individuals when they're not on.
That does seem to be a commonality between
some of these comedians. I'm always worried when they come in, are they either going to perform or are they going to be really surly and dark? And he performed, but in a light And he seems like a really warm, and he talked about his career in a very warm, uplifting way. Really enjoyed having him here.
Yeah, we don't want to, pigeonhole someone to think, hey, okay, you're a funny man, make us laugh.
Always be funny. Yeah.
Right. We are open to have any discussion or conversation. But yeah, Jay was ready. He was ready.
Yeah. But some of my favorite comedians are because they're such good writers. And I think a lot of people forget that you think like oftentimes when someone's on television, you think they open up their mouths and say things, and that's what's there. They forget that there are writers and joke writers and comedians to be really good hone jokes. That's why they go on whenever they have a Netflix special, they'll do months
they've been
of
touring
dates beforehand,
right,
sharpening that joke to get the timing just right. The writing is so important, and he is naturally funny and with a really good sense of writing a joke.
Also, I think that SNL is like graduate school for any comedian. I mean, it's like
you
know what I mean? It's a boot camp.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, this is probably just easy peasy.
Saturday Night Live was hard. Hello, Houston really challenged him as a performer and an individual.
That's right. Right.
Well, so anyway, we had a great first hour, and this hour is going to be just as good, just as strong, because, of course, the weekend is upon us.
That's right.
We've made it to Friday.
That's right.
So we want to know your last-minute plans. What do you have going on this weekend if you're not going to see Jay Pharoah? If you are, let us know that, too. But what else is going on in the city? You can let us know that by either emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org or by calling us 713-440-8870. Also, we're going to talk about GLP-1s. I always get my letters.
You got it
backwards.
right. You got it right.
I always have to stop because of the dyslexia there. They're fascinating. And they come out for one thing, then they do something for something else. Then you hear they're being applied to something else. And then there's the cost and there's the desire and all. It's a fascinating world. And so many advances are happening there and more understanding of what this medication actually does and impacts. So we're going to be getting into the fact and fiction around those coming up in just a little bit.
Can't wait for that chat. You want to hear some headlines?
I do.
Okay, I've got you. The city of Houston will soon begin disconnecting water service for thousands of utility customers with significantly overdue balances. Houston Public Works has started sending notices to approximately 15,000 customers who collectively owe the city about $30 million. Disconnections are scheduled to begin September 8th. Customers will receive notice and opportunity to address their balances before their water service is disconnected. The city said payment plans and information about financial assistance will also be available, and that customers with questions about their accounts, payment arrangements, assistance options, or billing disputes can call them at 713-371-1400. Okay, so there is a little bit of a prerequisite. The city said customers were identified based on these factors: having made no payment for at least 90 consecutive days, owing more than $500, and having a census remote reading device. Mayor John Whitmire's administration said the city has held off on water shutoffs for the past 2 years because, remember, there were all those widespread complaints about inaccurate water bills in 2024. The city has since replaced faulty meters. They said they've corrected billing problems and worked to improve the accuracy of its utility bills. And I guess now they're ready to collect, Ernie. What are your thoughts? Call or text 713-440-8870.
In the first hour, you put on your tinfoil hat and went into your conspiracy theories.
Yes.
I almost feel like I'm putting on my socialism hat because I'm sorry, not that I'm a socialist, but paying for water is problematic, I think. And I think with the taxes and everything we pay, we shouldn't have water bills. I know that's ridiculous, but you need it to sustain life.
Water is a basic human right.
Yes. And to charge people to have water, because I'll guarantee you the vast majority of these folks who haven't paid their water bill are people who can't afford to pay their water bill.
Right.
I think if you can pay it, it's something that's very automatically paid with mortgages and things like that. So to say to people, since you can't pay your water bill because you don't have the resources to do that, we're going to turn off your water?
It's awful.
I don't see the balance here. I understand, yes, there is a fee for these things, and that's the commitment we make, and that there are services out there to help folks in need. But I'll almost go out on a limb and say there is not enough help for all the people that need it. And so I'm really torn about this one because you need water. Water should be just for anything you get in life.
I just find it funny that a city who has entirely dropped the ball when it came to billing and metering, and it was uncovered that they were making so many mistakes. They were billing people wrong. They themselves have gotten it wrong so many times. They've made a couple of improvements, and now they say, okay, we're back on track. We didn't really suffer any penalties, but now those who haven't paid in 90 days and, done this, we are shutting your water off. That is not okay. That is an abuse of power. Because you have the ability to shut someone's water off, you have not played a perfect game. Where was your responsibility in this? When you were overcharging senior citizens, people who were living paycheck to paycheck, people who are living paycheck to paycheck, yeah, I'm not a fan of our city's water, administration, whatever it is.
Yeah, I just think that we look at it wrong. And yes, there are toll roads, but you don't pay to drive on the roads. You've got a car, you get out there, you drive on the roads. There are certain city services that are provided. That's what our tax money goes towards. I know budget restraints and all that, but water is one that shouldn't be in the balance of that.
I agree. I will say it again. Water is a basic human right. And, our city has mismanaged it from all angles. And now they're trying to take it away from people. And that's irritating. Chris from Cyprus is on the phone. What are your thoughts on this, Chris?
Yeah, I have a problem with them cutting off the water to, citizens that really need it. Come on, if these data centers can open up, they can hook them up to the utilities and hook them up to the grid and just go ahead and give them a break and give them all these incentives. They should at least allow people to have running water just to sustain life, just because it's that important. Also, I've driven around the city a lot and seen a lot of broken water mains or these fire hydrants wide open, free flowing, and I don't see a work crew in sight, and that's just money down the drain.
Yeah.
Literally draining.
Yeah, I just find this the same thing. We talked about this a little bit when we were talking about garbage collection and the garbage fee. And I see that slightly differently. It's not as significant as the water. It's significant, not as water is for life. But my whole thought was, so that the people who can't pay the garbage fee, what do? You stop picking up their garbage? Well, how does that help a city? It's like these moves. I understand the ledger, the paperwork on this. It says, the balance sheet on it. You got to pay. But the humanity of it is it doesn't improve our city. It doesn't help our people. There are certain things our tax money should go to. Let's redefine where we spend our taxes.
Yes.
Water should not be something you have to pay for.
I agree.
I know it's not the topic, but I don't think you should pay for it. If you didn't pay for it, we wouldn't have this problem in front of us.
I agree.
There you go.
Okay, I have another story. This one might brighten your day up a little bit.
Okay.
Tennessee lawmakers are considering dedicating another day to Dolly Parton.
I'm brightened already. Keep going.
The iconic singer and philanthropist passed away on Tuesday at the age of 80. Earlier this year, January 19th, became Dolly Parton Day in celebration of her 80th birthday. But now lawmakers are considering September 25th or 9/25 day. Get it? Okay, good.
Come on, push that joke a little further. You can get there.
Well, every day is a fitting day to honor Dolly. 9 to 5 day will give Tennesseans, an opportunity each year to set aside a little extra time to listen to her iconic songs and reflect on the once-in-a-century legend. The legislation will be considered when the next session begins in January. I think go national with this. Why not take this to the federal level? I would love if 9 to 5 was a nationally recognized day. What about you, Ernie?
713-440-8870. I bet every one of our listeners knows where I stand on this one. I love a good day, and I can think of no better reason to put a day on Dolly Parton and a way to celebrate who she was. Well, I've been watching this meme go around online the last 24 hours or so, which I think is so amazing. They're saying, here's a woman who won 11 Grammys, Emmys, so many nominations, so many awards, so many records sold, and she passes away. And what is everybody talking about? The philanthropy she did, how she lived her life, how she lifted up those who were put down by society around them, how she was a friend to all. That says something more than all of those career accomplishments. Yes, those put her in the position to do that. But that's what we remember about her. How rare is that?
It's beautiful.
Celebrate that. We were joking here in the office today. I'm getting frustrated about something I'm doing this weekend. Might get to it in last minute plans. And in just talking to Tessa about it, I thought, I'd been joking about I'm going to live more like Dolly Parton every day. And I was like, Dolly wouldn't say that. Dolly would embrace and be like, let people live. Let things be good. And I'm going to keep trying to do this.
I think it's good for our mental health.
Yeah.
I think it's good to see the good and be the good in any given situation.
Don't sweat the small stuff and help those who are less fortunate, lift them up, those that need the help and all of that. So every 9 to 5 day, I'm going to celebrate Dolly, and I think everyone should. What do you think? 713-440-8870. Are you on board with the 9 to 5 day?
Absolutely. That was the first song I sang. She had passed on Tuesday, Wednesday morning. I said, let's do it. 9 to 5, grab a cup of ambition. You know what I mean? It's why not? I'm a working woman.
Yeah.
I feel like I poofed out my hair a little bit more that day, did a little extra glitter on the eyebrows. You gotta commemorate the legendary Dolly Parton in any way you can. And obviously those are aesthetics. But I think what you're talking about is actually just so important, especially right now. I hate that we had to lose her to remind ourselves to be more kind to each other. But it's a beautiful reminder.
There's another weird meme going around that's talking about at any given time, there's only 8-10 of these spiritual people that are put on the planet, some kind of belief system that I don't know. I don't know the mythology to it, but that they walk among us and that they're there for a short period of time to remind humanity who to be.
Yeah.
And that they come in waves of these 8 people or whatever the number is, and that she was one of them.
I
believe
believe
that's why
it.
she was put here.
I don't even need to know the mythology. I believe it. I'm in on that.
Yeah. And I also think, last thing on this, and then we can move on, is the whole idea, we talked about this the other day, how up until the last time we saw her, Dolly still looked like Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah.
And so we didn't see her be sick. We didn't see her fade. She was talking in an interview about, they were asking her, do you always look like this? And I think it was maybe David Letterman or somebody was asking her, if we were to drive by your house, drive by the front lawn of your house and you were there, would you look like this? And she said, if I was in the front yard, I would, because she believed people should see her as the Dolly Parton that they come to know her as.
I like that.
And I think part of that has made this passing of her so strange to us, is we never saw a decline of Dolly. We had Dolly and now we don't. But her image is still exactly as we always saw her. And that will keep her like a Marilyn Monroe image, where we still see them the way they were.
She
and
curated that.
Yeah, it's lovely. Okay,
Really
I
special.
promise that would be the last thing I'd say on this.
For now.
Senator
Ted Cruz said, it's no secret I want to be president, on Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's podcast. So they were chatting Wednesday about the 2028 presidential field and whether or not Cruz will run. So that conversation is intensifying. Cruz, who finished second in the Republican presidential primaries in 2016 to Donald Trump, has served as Texas's junior senator since 2013. I will say this is a bug that history has proved is rarely ended, Cruz said of his White House aspirations. It's a permanent and often fatal bug. What are your thoughts? Does Cruz have a chance? Call or text 713-440-8870.
The only thing I'll say on this one at this point is it's going to be a big field. It's going to be very curious to see who come out on top. It's going to be our own little Game of Thrones on both sides of the aisle as people vie to see who is going to be the next president. And as soon as the midterms end, that will be the thing everyone's talking about. Be interesting to see how Cruz does. We were talking about the water. So we had a phone call that came in, and also about Dolly Parton. Sepp from Houston Heights is on the phone. Sepp, what's on your mind?
A couple things. In regards to just like mismanagement of water, there's a lot of properties over here that are getting torn down, and when they get torn down, you have to run a hose, to prevent dust from going on to other houses. And more often than not, like, these companies aren't pulling the permit, and they're pulling like water vane water, so they're using water as a public amenity without paying for it to tear down houses, and that happens a lot. And then I heard you make this comment about what's going on with like the trash management. And I think like one of the greater issues with that, as it becomes, because, Houston is the last major city in Texas to implement this service that you have to pay for it. It's always been a public service, which only, if I'm not mistaken, only became available in like 1991. Like Houston didn't have proper like waste management for a while. But all that being said, it's going to be possibly leveraged so that people could get liens put on their house. If they become backlogged in the payment, just kind of how like we're talking about, they're shutting water down because they're so backlogged in the water. So I mean, it's kind of rough and wild and a little intimidating, but yeah, I think it is something like serious that more people should be paying attention to.
It is rough. And I think, like you said, everything is like almost coming subscription based where people aren't going to be able to keep up monthly. And it's just a money grab. It just seems like it's a money grab. Now, listen, I of course would, if it went to it, of course you want your trash picked up. Of course you need your water. But is it ethical to start charging people these things that should be kind of guaranteed to come with a city? Right. Yeah. I'm in a major city. I'm in the biggest city in Texas. Pick up my trash.
Yeah. Thank you, Sep, for calling in and sharing with us. I guess he's already gone on. Let's quickly grab Joe at 713-440-8870. Joe, what's on your mind?
Well, about 6 months ago, we got a notice from the City of Houston's water department that our pipes were aging and they were releasing lead into our drinking water. And it was a notice to say, you've got lead, unacceptable levels of lead in your drinking water, and it won't be fixed for another couple of years. So immediately it's like we need to start buying filters. We need to figure out if we need to pay for some kind of filtration system in the house. But I didn't hear any public outcry about it. It's like it's a segment of Westbury that got this notice. And so we're paying our normal water bill, but now we can't drink our water anymore. I bought a Brita filter to put in my refrigerator, and it has to be filled like every other day. And the filter is used. It's a big inconvenience to keep taking it in and out, and I didn't want to start a water delivery, but I just wonder how the city, we're paying the same bill we've always paid, but now we've lost our drinking water, basically. So, and it's dangerous to have lead in your drinking water. It can lead to all kind of neurological problems. So you can't just keep drinking it. And I don't even know if senior citizens know to do anything. It hasn't been on the news. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous what we're having to put up with.
Joe, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And also, we'll look into that further. That's something we should be talking about more if, in fact, it is more widespread. Well, even if it isn't, that this is happening, we'll look into that. Thank you for calling and bringing it to our attention. And it goes back to, let's just have clean water for everyone.
Clean.
Is that asking so much?
It's really not. It's really not, and it shouldn't be. And that is, I mean, that is terrible that you can't even open your faucet. It's not even safe in your own home to drink water, something that was put here on earth for us for free.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, because we're here for you for free. We've been put on this earth for you for free.
For free.
You like that segue?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work. Hello, Houston's continuing right after this. It's time to learn about those GL1P. I got it wrong finally.
Dang it.
Right after this. With federal support gone, Houston Public Media needs a stronger foundation for the future. The Houston Public Media Resiliency Fund is our response to ensure this service remains strong, stable, and community-powered. Your gift today helps us stay on the air tomorrow and the day after that. Give now to the Resiliency Fund at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, historian Kai Bird. He interviewed Donald Trump several times for his new biography of Roy Cohn.
He interrupts me and he says, maybe I can promote it. He says, anything I promote goes to number one.
Oh, my God.
And then there's a pause and he says, well, of course, it'd have to be fair.
What Roy Cohn taught Trump. Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour.
New Yorker Radio Hour, Sunday at 9 a.m. on News 88.7. Support comes from Baylor College of Medicine. With 125 years of innovation behind it, Baylor has driven progress in health and medicine through research, education, and care that push the frontiers of modern science. Support comes from Baker Ripley, serving Greater Houston for more than 100 years with programs supporting families, education, and financial stability. And workforce, find program details, volunteer information, and more at bakerripley.org.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
Eli Lilly is making an experimental weight loss drug available to a limited number of patients before it receives FDA approval. The drug, called retatrutide, targets 3 hormones and shows promise in clinical trials. But what does this mean for patients, and how is it different from existing medications like Zepbound? Joining us to tell us more is Dr. Sarah Nadeem, an endocrinologist and assistant professor at Baylor College of Medicine. Dr. Nadeem, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
When we talk about all these GLP-1s, and they seem to almost be a wonder drug, from where you sit, is that putting too much on this drug, or are they truly, as Tessa was saying earlier,
the best thing that's ever happened in modern medicine?
Ever happened.
One of the best things, for sure. And as a diabetes doctor, as an endocrinologist, I think, it is the best thing that has happened for diabetes and weight management in decades or ever, after insulin. So we've had 100 years of insulin. After that, I think this is the biggest change. They really work well. And I'm so glad to see that, the different companies are developing medications that work differently. And we can now start personalizing which medicine to use for which patient. Like Tessa mentioned, with the newer medicines that are coming out, what do we do with the older ones and where do we use them? We now have choices available so we can personalize better.
Before we get all the way into it, just a quick question. When we talk about the older ones, my mind automatically goes to how far are we from the generic versions of these? How long before the price is just going to drop drastically?
That's an excellent question, because I wish, they were cheaper so more of my patients who need it can access it. So, we have had GLP-1 medications. For the first one was Byetta, which came out around 2005, and then it went out of the market because it was just mainly for sugar control, and it was a twice-a-day injection, not a lot of weight loss. And then we started discovering it causes weight loss, so they developed Ozempic and so forth. So we haven't really had that many years, since 2007. And so the patents will go eventually and we'll get cheaper medicines. But I think the demand is also pushing that, because there is a new medicine that is being approved for weight loss similar to GLP-1s. It's a pill. So we do have the Ozempic pill, which was marketed as Rybelsus, and then they're remarketing it because a lot of people didn't kind of know about it too much. And then the Wegovy pill, which was for obesity only, the Ozempic pill for people with diabetes, is the same medicine, semaglutide. And how that works is...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, so we got a text that said GLP-1s have evolved so quickly that sometimes it feels like patients and doctors are learning together. How much are we still learning about long-term use, especially what happens when someone plateaus or the medication seems to stop working as well?
Great question, because yes, a lot of times, we're learning as well as the new medicine comes out. The one that you mentioned, the retatrutide, was just released. The data was just released in April when I was at the American Diabetes Association meeting, and it's going to be out in the market hopefully next year when the FDA approves it. So we're learning together. The long-term effects, we do know them because, like I mentioned, we do have, at least 20 years of data of some of these medicines, the same group of medicines, not the same brand, but the same group of medicines. What we don't have good answers for is how do we decrease the dose? Do we decrease the dose if somebody has achieved their weight? And because the data does show if you stop them, you will regain the weight. That's why they're different from surgery. With surgery, that weight loss is more or less permanent. With these weight loss medications or GLP-1s, the weight loss will come back if you stop it for the majority of people.
We often hear about the side effects of a lot of these. And oftentimes I hear about nausea and things like that, their digestive problems with it. But are there other side effects? I've heard some people claim that there are sexual side effects. There are, because that and correct me, obviously, where I'll be wrong in this, that it reduces that pleasure center in the brain, which you get the pleasure from the food, but pleasure from other things, and that it lightens all of your joys. What's the truth behind that? And are those side effects, and how do you counter them?
So that's a good question because yes, these medications do work in the brain and in the centers which are related to addiction. So it has actually been shown that people who start GLP-1 medications can quit, alcohol easily. But there is the question, and there is a little bit of a signal of anhedonia, which means finding that joy in things that might be blunted. And some people have reported that they don't enjoy sex as much, or even certain things that they enjoyed before. There is a warning on most of these that, some people with depression, and if it worsens, then to consider maybe discontinuing it. So for the majority of people, we don't see this, but in a small percentage, we might see it. So it's important for a clinician and a physician to keep that in mind when you are starting it with a patient. The overall benefit, though, far exceeds the risk, but I'm not saying that risk is not there. So yes, we need to keep an eye on this signal about, not enjoying things as much, which is not with everyone, but a few people might notice that.
We are speaking with Dr. Sarah Nadeem about the growing use of medications for weight management, specifically those GLP-1s, and what patients should know. Dr. Sarah, I find that this is such a great breakthrough for, one, diabetes does run in my family. Two, I feel like most of my culture is centered around food. And three, with the abundance of food noise in American culture, I feel like this is an equalizer, a medicine that is an equalizer for so many people. Is there any pushback from, is there someone that doesn't want our society to be, food canceled out, food noise canceled out?
I think, you've hit a very important point because, yes, I did actually read a report where the food industry, the restaurant industry is noticing that they've had to shrink their portion sizes because a lot of people, on Ozempic or Zepbound, you feel fuller faster, which is a great thing for our health. So I think there might be pushback from, processed foods, soft drinks, all of those high calorie foods and dense foods. I think it's a great thing, but because overall, long-term, health-wise, we are taking care of that food noise. And it's very hard for a lot of people to be able to, if I just tell them, hey, eat right and you'll lose weight, that has not happened for like decades. And these medications, like you said, are the great equalizer, which help them, get to a healthy weight, and then they're able to work out. So yeah, I'm with you.
So also on that note, I have been trying to convince, my brother who could, I care about his health. We are prone to weight gain in my family. And he kind of is on the fence because of when we had already talked about the long-term side effects. What would you say to someone who has maybe been thinking about getting on a GLP-1 versus someone who says, no, I need to lose weight the natural way? What would you tell them?
So something what I tell my patients is when I'm starting them on, either a GLP-1 for diabetes or just for weight management as well, is I tell them that the long-term side effects of your weight and metabolic issue are proven, right? We know you might develop diabetes, complications of diabetes, increased risk of heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, eye damage, neuropathy. So that's 100%. We know, long-term, people will get that. Some people, with great control will be able to avoid that, but it's a much higher risk than an average person's. This medication has been proven to protect your kidneys. It treats the fatty liver. Ozempic has that approval also, and treats sleep apnea. It will decrease your cholesterol, improve your blood pressure. You might get off some of your blood pressure pills and decrease the amount of insulin you're on if you're taking it for diabetes. So the benefits are right up here, right? The risks are, yes, nausea, constipation, even diarrhea are the commonest, the GI symptoms. But the other side effects, which we're talking about, if they happen to you and you cannot tolerate them, you can always stop. And we have the luxury of switching from one GLP-1 to another GLP-1, which may have a better side effect profile. And the long-term side effects are that you will be less likely to have a stroke or a heart attack. So I think that will help convince people usually.
Take me back into this medication, because it started off, as you mentioned at the beginning of this, about for diabetes, and that's where we were first looking at it. Then we saw the weight control of it. Then we saw the can help with addiction and things like that. But the more I keep hearing about, the more things it keeps addressing. They keep finding more good that this medication does. Is it a bit of a catch-all that we should maybe be a little worried about what this is? Why does this work so well in so many different directions? What are we learning from the science of it?
Great question. So what we're learning is initially when they found it working for diabetes, we thought it's only an effect on the gut or the pancreas. And then they were like, oh no, we're seeing some signals in the brainstem, right? And then now we're seeing that it works on fat cells, right? And in the liver also, and the kidneys. So the receptor that the GLP-1 receptor agonist, these are these medicines, right? Now they're adding on a GIP receptor agonist, that's Zepbound, which has two benefits. It works on two different receptors, which are little cell, kind of like gates on your cells, which let, signal to the cells of what to do. And then the third one, the retatrutide, has three things. It also works on the glucagon receptors besides GLP-1 and GIP. So what we're learning is that these receptors, which we long thought that maybe did not have a big role, that had only to do with high blood sugars, actually have a role to do with how we store our fat, how we don't lose our fat, how one family, works really hard, but they still gain weight and cannot lose weight. So we're learning that, but I think it's important to be skeptical, obviously. And so whenever the research studies come out, we see initially there was a signal that may help with dementia. We haven't had any proven benefit there yet. There's still studies going on, but there is proven benefit. We've actually seen that it reverses some of the scarring in people with cirrhosis because of fatty liver. So that's another indication which, is very helpful. So a lot of these conditions where we thought we really couldn't do much once it's set in, now we're able to actually reverse some of that. Yeah.
Dr. Sarah Nadeem, I am so interested because I feel like our culture has shifted. Needles and injections, that used to be something associated with more drug use, more negative connotations. And now I feel like with the GLP-1s and even peptides. I hear a lot about peptides on the market and how good some of these things that you can inject straight into your bloodstream can be really good for you. Do you have any comment on that? Because I used to see my grandma shoot insulin and I thought I could never, ever do that. How could someone ever do that? And now, I'm on a GLP-1 and it's like time for the dosage, and I've got my alcohol pads, and I'm, it feels very liberating in a way.
Right, because you're taking charge and you're making a difference to your health. But I'm glad you mentioned peptides. So not everything that we inject is healthy for us. And so GLP-1 medications are peptides. So they're proteins and peptides. So this peptide market that has come out, has to do with retatrutide, because there's a lot of excellent research data that it causes weight loss similar to surgery, actually, those levels, like, about 80-pound weight loss or 30%, 28 to 30%. But what people did was they started compounding those, the retatrutide and even the others. So a lot of these peptides that are marketed are actually GLP-1 receptor agonists or some kind of form of that. But what I worry about with peptides which are not regulated by the FDA or not from a regulated compounding pharmacy is that there is a risk that even a little bit of contamination, because we are injecting it under the skin, it goes in the bloodstream, can cause infections and other harm. So I'm glad that we're moving away from the stigma of injections with, people injecting Zepbound easily and, not worrying about, oh, this is the last resort. But I would be very careful in injecting peptides. If you're getting it from a health center, a beauty salon or a health spa or the gym, and not from a licensed physician provider, I would hesitate and not use an injection like that.
I want to go back to the whole diet and how these medications reduce your desire to eat. I'm concerned that when people are taking it then, that they're not going to eat a healthy diet because they're not that hungry. So now they're just snacking here and there or whatever. And my first thought is all of a sudden, okay, so your body's going to be eating muscle, not fat. You're going to lose poundage, but are we really getting healthier? What do people need to know when they're on these medications to feed their system correctly?
And you're right. When your urge to eat goes down, a lot of people even stop drinking water. And there have been some reported cases where people got so dehydrated that, it affected the kidneys. So I tell my patients, make sure you're eating small, frequent meals during the day. Make sure you're drinking water, even if you have to set a reminder that you have to eat water. And yes, if they eat just junk, well, there's one good thing. If they have greasy food or fried food, you will get a lot of side effects and diarrhea and maybe nausea, vomiting. So somebody will learn pretty quickly that I need to stay away from that. But what you should increase in your diet is protein. And you can supplement with protein shakes because, yes, you do not want to leave or lose muscle. You want to just focus on losing fat. So increase protein and do strength training. If you don't do strength training, then yes, your bones can also become weaker and you will lose muscle because bone strength is related to muscle. If you lose muscle, then the bone under that also becomes weaker.
We have I have a couple more quick questions and comments. People are concerned about it being a reasonable cost. If it does so much good for people, how can we get insurance companies to approve it more often and make it more affordable for the masses?
I think advocacy. So as physicians, I'm a big advocate of making this accessible to more and more patients because it's not fair that, people who actually need it, it's not covered or it's the insurance companies say it's not a covered benefit. It's kind of like it's a life-saving medicine, in my opinion. And if you deny that, then that's not okay. So I think if you are, as an insurance member, you should write to your insurance company and show them the studies. And I think it's a broken health system. And so I think insurance companies should not have the power to keep such beneficial medicines from providers and patients.
Dr. Sarah Nadeem, MD, FACE Assistant Professor, Baylor College of Medicine. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Coming up next, last-minute plans. And a surprise from the Sufferers lead singer, Kam Franklin. Coming up right after this break.
You live in a universe where an octopus can solve puzzles and stars explode in slow motion. Now you can experience it all. HPM Plus brings you the best of PBS science and nature, ready to stream whenever curiosity sets in. Stream live.
With federal support gone, Houston Public Media needs a stronger foundation for the future. The Houston Public Media Resiliency Fund is our response to ensure this service remains strong, stable, and community-powered. Your gift today helps us stay on the air tomorrow and the day after that. Give now to the Resiliency Fund at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
In the landscape, which is why you are there.
And so is everybody else. We'll talk about the search for wilderness.
The Pulse at 2 p.m. on Sunday.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from the Women's Institute of Houston. Join a community of lifelong learners and discover history, literature, current events, art, mahjong, and more through engaging classes. More info at wih.org.
Support comes from Chariot Energy, a member of Hanwha Energy USA, a retail electricity provider offering simple, sustainable energy plans to residential and commercial customers. Details and plan options available at chariotenergy.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
Hey, they said our names.
That's us.
That's us. We again, very informative interview. I'm really fascinated by all that stuff that we're talking about. But you know what I'm more fascinated about?
Tell me.
The weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's time for Last Minute Plans, our regular Friday feature. What are you up to this weekend? Share it with us. We want to know. You can give us a call. You can email us, talk@hellohouston.org, or you can just sit with us and hear what we're doing.
There you go.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're looking for something to do today, why don't you kick off your weekend with Houston singer-songwriter Kam Franklin of the Sufferers, who will be performing in-store at Cactus Music at 5:30 to celebrate, get a load of this, her new album, Land of the Neon Sun. Isn't that cool?
It's beautiful.
Outside of the Suffers, she's going solo for this album. Hello Houston, I should say. Executive producer Jim Kovac.
Kovacic.
I know. Why'd I say that? That was the judge, Jim Kovacic, who spoke with Franklin recently for the new reoccurring feature, 5 Simple Questions. Here's that conversation.
The list.
It's okay to put yourself on there if you want. All right, Kam Franklin, Houston singer, songwriter. Let's just make that American singer, songwriter.
I love it.
Yes. So before we start our 5 simple questions today, tell me the abbreviated version of the Kam Franklin story.
The abbreviated version of the Kam Franklin story.
Yes.
I am a daughter of Houston, Texas, that grew up singing in churches at age 5. I told my parents I wanted to be a rock star. They said, be realistic, and put me at least in choirs and competitive choirs throughout my childhood and high school. And when a lot of my friends went off to college, I decided to focus on music.
Yeah.
And it was a long, hard route of singing with anybody that would let me, a lot of free gigs, a lot of sitting in. But I want to say it was 10 years of figuring it out. And then I joined the Suffers, the band that I've been in for the last 15 years in 2011. And I can't believe 2011 was 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
But yeah, and we started as a cover band that was supposed to play on weekends. The next thing I know, we're popular. And we had an opportunity to come out to New York. Got discovered by the Late Show at David Letterman his last few weeks on the air, and ended up being the last independent band that he had on air. And that launched my touring career with my band. And after, I want to say 10 years of going hard on the road, we found ourselves forced at home because of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And that gave me the opportunity to really nurse and finish and workshop a catalog of solo songs that I had just been writing and singing and pitching and really not having success with the band and some other artists as well, and realized like these are my songs.
Yeah.
They don't work for anybody else because they're mine. And started saving my money.
Yeah.
And I mean really saving my money and putting every drop that I had of free time into recording, making this record happen, trying to see what worked and what didn't, trying out other people's songs that had sent me ideas. And after about 7 years of pre-production and recording, I got it done between 2023 and 2024. And now it's coming out August 28th.
All right, there we go. Kam Franklin. All right, so here's 5 simple questions, just your honest answer. Very simple. First question.
Okay.
What is the best advice you got from a parent or a family member?
Whew. The best advice I got from a parent or a family member is don't ever be too ashamed to ask for help.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah. Even if it's the final hour, no, you can call and ask for help.
Okay. Question number 2. Your passion is music. What is your earliest memory of music, and when did you want to make it a career?
My earliest memory of music was just growing up in my parents' house, listening to my father sing and all of the vinyl that he and my mother would play in the house. But it definitely started for me just knowing it was for me at age 5. I had an opportunity to sing at church, and the pastor was going from kid to kid, putting the mic in front of them to sing this call and response song. And when he came to me, I took the mic away and wouldn't give it back. And yeah, the rest is history.
And now you're performing ever since, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Third question. What's the best decision you've made in your life?
The best decision I've made in my life was quitting my job January 30th, 2015. I quit my day job working at this Australian investment bank, and I had just gotten a promotion. I'd been doing all the right corporate things that you should do if you are intending to build a career somewhere. But my former boss found out that we got booked for Letterman, and she was like, respectfully, you'll always have a job here, but you know, you got to go chase this dream. And so I'm very grateful to her, and thank you, Amanda Wood, for pushing me to go.
Yeah. And you never had to call her back.
No. And some of my old coworkers, they come to the record. Some of them come to the record. They come to the shows. And some of them even helped contribute to my Kickstarter campaign to help release my album. My physical album was completely funded by Kickstarter supporters. And it kind of blew my mind and just made me tear up to see their names on the list, because they were part of the same group that when I quit my job sent me away with a thank you note and a card full of money that said, "Don't you dare come effing back to work." And you know, they helped me get through that first 6 months on the road. You know, a bunch of drunk traders like, "Don't come back. We love you," just tossing money in this envelope. And I'm like, this is actually helping me pay my rent for the first little chunk. And now, you know, 10 years after that happened with the Suffers, they're now part of the community helping my physical album come to life.
So was this a part of, and this isn't one of the questions, but just to follow up, was this part of like, you knew in your heart you wanted to go there, but you actually probably had some dark times with the money? Did you always figure out it would work out in the end, or were you trepidatious when you were out there for the first time?
I mean, both.
Yeah.
I mean, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
It is absolutely terrifying anytime to bet on yourself, whether that's entrepreneurship or switching careers, going back to school. Anything that rocks your stability is terrifying, incredibly brave, incredibly risky, but usually worth it, even if it's just to try and see how it all works out.
And your story inspires a lot of people. It's that putting yourself out there, and it actually pays off. So it's a good thing. This one is a little bit less serious.
Okay.
You're a Houstonian. What 3 songs should every Houstonian know by heart?
Oh. Oh man. I
got you.
Okay. I feel like Back Then by Mike Jones.
Okay, there you go.
At least Pimp C's verse on International Players Anthem.
I will go with that. Yes, but I think the whole song, as you know,
Yes.
Houston claims UGK.
I'll say at least.
Houston in the whole Beaumont thing, but we claim UGK. So
Absolutely, and at the same time, even though they are from, you know, Port Arthur, Beaumont area, Bun has been such an incredible mentor to this Houston music community. Myself being a massive student of him and his advice, but you know, at this point, he's definitely H-Town's finest. We love him dearly. But to wrap up the list,
it's okay to put yourself on there if you want. It really is.
No, I feel I don't expect everybody to know me or my music.
Yeah.
Because A, I'm independent, but B, I truly do believe in music discovery. I truly believe in how big this world is, and I hope that until the end of my days, there's somebody being like, "Have you heard this song by Kam Franklin? Have you heard this song by the Suffers?" But my third song, it would be a little bit of a mix. Probably a tie between Mo City Dom Freestyle by Zero, and also I mean,
that's a good choice.
It is a good choice, but then I also like, you know, this is Beyonce's city, you know, so a lot of my choices, I'll just say like the first Destiny's Child record.
Okay.
I know it's not a song. We'll just say that.
We'll just take that. Okay. We'll take that. It's your answer. Last question, and thank you so much for doing this. You've done a lot. You won a Grammy. What is the one thing you want music fans to remember when they hear the name Kam Franklin?
I want music fans, when they see my name, to know that I am proof of our music industry being very hard to navigate, but not impossible if you're willing to learn it and do the work.
Yeah. Kam Franklin, you've survived 5 simple questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, she did survive. Kam Franklin, lead singer of the Sufferers. She spoke with Hello Houston executive producer Jim Kovacic.
You did it.
Thank you, Jim. Kam will be appearing at Cactus Music this afternoon at 5:30 for an in-store performance. You're not going to want to miss that. For more information, visit cactusmusictx.com/events.
There you go. Okay, last minute plans. I'm going to go listen to that Destiny Child album and maybe her new album later on. Maybe
Idina Menzel is in concert on Sunday night.
Oh, Idina Menzel?
Yes, at the Houston Symphony.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Too bad I'll be golfing all day, every day this weekend.
And Jill Scott is in concert at Smart Financial. That's all I got for you right now because we are out of time, and we'll be back on Monday. Let's do this all again.
Good job.
Good job. Great week here. Thank you all for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menivar, Laura Walker, Jen Altide, Todd Hoslander, Jayla Rhodes, Mark DeClaudio, Tom Carter, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
It's a minute before 1 o'clock here at News 88.7. Support comes from Moody Center for the Arts at Rice University, presenting Radiant Geometries. Contemporary artists explore expressions of math, science, and technology through indigenous knowledge, reception,